8th of February 2022 tarehe 8 mwezi wa pili mwaka 2021. 22. 20 hope you're doing well. It's a pleasure to have you again on the Tuesday State of the Nation edition of the 8th February 2022. Kama kawaida, request that when you join in, please like. When you like, we get to know that you're watching us, and after like, please share. And you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch broadcast. Poleni tumeanza kama tumechelewa kidogo leo, lakini basi tutaweza kuchapa kazi haraka upesi, alafu tuweze kusonga na mazungumzo. Please when you join in, like. When you like, we get to know that you're watching us, and after like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch broadcast. Tuko na mheshimiwa KIPCHUMBA MURKOMEN, Senator ELGEYO MARAKWET, na tutaanza kuzungumzia zaidi mambo ambayo yanaendelea pale Kerio Valley, whatever is happening at Kerio Valley, the insecurity in Kerio Valley, what the government is doing or not doing, and who is responsible for this, what's going on, and how do we stop this. We also be looking at the current affairs in the political scene, what is happening in the country. Jana Uhuru has come out guns blazing, amesema kazi haifanywi juu ya magari. Hivyo sio alikuwa anazungumzia nani, but anyway we'll be able to get also a mind of mheshimiwa KIPCHUMBA MURKOMEN. We also had some laws that found their way into the public scene on the elections bill that was talking about some restrictions, some changes in the elections bill as well, that were really touching on very sensitive issues of the electoral process. And so far, everyone has come out to deny it, including the people that we thought maybe it were coming from. So we'll be able to try and trace it. Where were the laws coming from? What were the bills supposed to achieve? And then where do we move? Is also IBC prepared for the general elections? Na pia nimesikia wamesema kuna system inapangwa, and there has been a conversation. I'll be seeing someone was engaging me this morning, and they were saying Raila Odinga has always had a following, and somehow the state has never allowed him to run for a position. Will the DP find his way around this? Well, that's left to your imagination and your guess, as well as we get into this discussion. Lakini kama kawaida lazima tuende mbele za Mungu, tuombe, alafu kirudi na kuja tunaingia kazi haraka upesi. Unajua utatuombea? Will you pray for us?
Let's pray. Thank you, God, for this morning. Thank you for this show, even for the guest and the host. And Lord, bless our listeners. Bless Kenya. Have your way in our lives. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I declare you blessed.
You declare.
Amen. Amen.
Officially, as usual, my wingman, Dr. Ojwang, is here to help us take this discussion into perspective. Like, when you join, please like. When you like, we get to know they're watching us, and that like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to do the broadcast. Watu wa YouTube pia karibuni, watu wa diaspora pia naona tayari wameingia. Thank you so much DK. Na kuwa na Farid Faraja anasema Honorable KIPCHUMBA MURKOMEN Musalefu, karibu sana. Rapche Boy Junior, thanks for letting me know. Samson Kirwa Doa Qatar, asante sana. Wash Vika, leo utumie your credit. Sasa uchumi ni mbaya January. Lemox kosi. Good morning. Asiko Ondigo, Obama campaign for Clinton, campaign for Joe Biden. Uhuru will campaign for Raila, and that is democracy. Wewe pigia kura mwenye unaona anafaa. Simple. John Kibor following from Eldoret, Santa Maureen Pilale representing. Thank you. Babake Willy, good morning. Bito Salimia MURKOMEN watching from KSA. Stanley Samwe, Balozi Ering Major na kuona kama Senegal are the champions of Africa. Aya, ongera Senegal naona watu bado wako kwa African Cup. But anyway, getting straight into the business of the day. Good morning mheshimiwa.
Good morning, Gerald.
Umetuangusha sana bwana. Mwaka mzima.
Kumekuwa kazi
watu hawachwangu hivyo.
Maybe I should say like Uhuru, kazi haifanywi kwa
haifanywi juu ya studio. Kazi haifanywi kwa studio. Dibino.
Lakini nimeshukuru sana. Kama vile nilisema wakati nilikuja hapa,
yes.
Hii ni mojawapo ya ile mashow ambayo iko na content, iko na mazungumzo ya mambo yanayo husu taifa, mwananchi wa kawaida, na iko na nafasi nzuri ya wale ambao wageni ambao wanakuja hapa kupata nafasi ya kujielezea vizuri mambo yale ambayo ama fikira zao kuhusu mambo yanayoendelea katika taifa letu. Na kwa hivyo ninafurahi kwamba wewe unapambana na hustle yako hii, na ya kwamba inaendelea kuwa na tajriba kuu sana katika taifa letu. Na kwa hivyo tunakuenzi.
Nashukuru sana. Thank you so much for your support. Really appreciate it. I tell you, without you guys, I mean, this thing could never be. Every guest that comes here and expresses their thoughts on the issues that affect the nation help us as well build a bigger platform that we can use to have discussions around this country. But uko salama?
Niko salama sana.
Mapya ya dunia?
umesema mapya
ya dunia.
Hakuna mapya ya dunia hii, inaendelea. Tunasukuma gurudumu ya maisha, saa zingine juu ya gari, saa zingine chini ya gari, saa zingine kando ya gari, unajua saa zingine juu ya gari kama rais na naibu wake na wanasiasa, saa zingine chini ya gari kama mechanics, saa zingine kando ya gari kama makondakta,
saa zingine mnapepea juju.
Sasa pepea juju. Hizi zote ni kuhakikisha kwamba mwananchi wa kawaida na sisi wote tunaweza kufanya ile kazi ambayo tunaona ya kwamba itasukuma gurudumu ya maisha kwenda mbele na kufanya nchi yetu kusonga mbele. Na kwa hivyo kwa yale yote na tunafanya, tunashukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa afya na maisha, kwa sababu hiyo ndio maana zaidi, itupatie nafasi tuendelee kufanya mapenzi ya Mungu kwa taifa letu.
Alright. Before you get in, Ojwang.
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Ojwang anajua kuongea Kiswahili?
Kwa ukweli tuongee Kiswahili. Mimi niko salama. Nafurahia kuwa hili show inazidi kuwa na umaarufu. Unajua mimi nilizaliwa nikalelewa Kericho. Kwa hivyo lugha ya kwanza ikawa ni Kipsigis, Kiswahili, Kikisii, Kijaluo. Lakini tunashukuru kwa nafasi hili, hasa kwa watu ambao wanatufuatilia kwa Facebook na kwa nafasi ya viongozi wetu kuja kujieleza. Nafikiria akisema kujieleza, huwa ukienda kwenye hizi vipindi zingine ni dakika moja, ni nusu sekunde, lakini kwa hapa kwa upana na urefu na kwa kina, mtu anaweza kufikiria mambo ambayo yana uzito. Kwa hivyo ina umuhimu kama chombo cha kufunza wa Kenya. Nashukuru niko salama, kwa hivyo nashukuru.
Alright. Asante sana. Talking about the media freedom. Niliona jana rafiki yenu Avi analia sana Twitter. Anasema kuna mahali alifinyiwa jana. Talking about media freedom, with your experience that you've been having as well, before you're participating in issues of the public freedom and space to express yourselves politically and otherwise, do you feel the media as a photo state has been influenced much more by politics, and what is the danger in that?
What has happened, in my past life, I used to teach media and the law.
Yes.
And my students were journalists at the University of Nairobi. And one of the things that someone will tell you about media and the law is media ownership. There is a lot of now conflict of interest. The media owners and media editorial policy has now been convoluted. You have in a situation where many of the political actors are controlling the top 3 media houses in the country, and they own actually directly, and they dictate who should come to the shows and who should not come to the shows, what should be discussed. If you have a moment and speak to journalists and editors who are friends, and you're speaking off the camera, you realize that most of them are going through a very difficult struggle, because on one hand, media ownership and media editorial policy, independence of the editorial policy is usually supposed to be separate. The editors must be allowed to make a decision that is in the best interest of the institution as an independent entity, giving everybody an opportunity to air their views. But that's not anymore. You'll find invitations to shows that are geared towards perpetuating a particular narrative. You will hear that a media house will make a decision to invite one side of the political divide and will never give a chance to another side, even if it is a week later, and so forth. And you will see media owners making endorsements in public, but that is not the problem. We have no problem with media owners taking political sides. I wish they would do so, but allow their editors and editorial team and the editorial policy to become neutral, to try their best to ensure that everybody has a fair share of airtime. Because, by the way, even though even you, Gerald, you have this as a private entity, a private business, it exists here for public good, and it is it's consuming public resource. The airwaves are not yours; they are for the public. You have been leased; it has been leased to you with conditions that it will be used not to perpetuate hate speech. It will not perpetuate biases and all that. But we have a real situation, where one presidential candidate, even if he goes for a rural show somewhere, is given live coverage. If he goes to baby shower, is given live coverage. If he sneezes, is given live coverage. Then you have another one who, when even no matter what serious meetings is going to have, there is no coverage. And that's why you must be grateful that the expansion of the space to allow as many players as possible to come to the to media space, to become media owners and media broadcasters and practitioners like yourself, is giving us alternatives that we used not to have before, because darkness was prevailing. You will only have one narrative in one area. So today I'm in this show, another person comes tomorrow with a different view, and if you deny that person that view, another person will go to another show, and we have a greater and wider choice. I'm just saying you have more perspectives, but more institutions for you to make a choice as a citizen whether you're going to listen. And there are people who take for granted their majoritarianism, but they need to read how empires fall. It's not because of the big things; it's for the small things done over time. Citizens of this republic are not ignorant. Given the time they are able to analyze and say, why are they giving only people of this side, political side, more time? Why are they only perpetuating a particular narrative? Why are they? And over time, they will know what to do. But there's nothing wrong if Gerald, for example, a renowned media house stands and says, we have endorsed. New York Times does it. Washington Post does it. The biggest media practitioners in the world, they do it. But once you say, we are making a call to support X and Y, then the audience will now make a choice and say, okay, as you see, you can see even where these people are headed to, and so forth. So I guess my advice to all the media practitioners is that they are operating in a very dangerous path. There is a quote in the Bible. There's a verse in the Bible actually that says that anyone who thinks that he is standing must be careful not to fall, because sometimes when you are at your best, you feel like you have achieved.
You are more predisposed.
That is, you are actually more vulnerable at that point in time to make greater mistakes that can make you fall. There's a Kalenjin saying that says that an elephant can be tripped by an hair, and this is the hair for most of the media houses. These small things they are doing in these elections might be a turning point, no matter who wins the elections.
The consequences of Juang. Also,
think about it
on that.
in terms of media advertisement. Government advertise in those media houses.
Correct.
So sometimes there's also unspoken power relation, because if government advertises, and that's a lot of money, then now imagine if somebody has outrightly declared that I am supporting candidate X, and I have ordered my stations to give stories on why he should be elected. And then now you add that the little that could remain as a source of funding is also government advertisement, that also the government as a candidate, so to speak. Whether that's oxymoron or not, but there's a government candidate and they are paying you advertisement. So you have more hooks to jump to be neutral. Of course, we have what we call brown envelope journalism, which is a small problem, but the media ownership. And what that does is what Honorable KIPCHUMBA is saying, the danger of a single story. The danger, we are all abbreviators. We all have some abbreviation of truth. And as even in the media journalism and the classes he taught, we want a marketplace of ideas. Just like you go to a market And you find, they say who will, if you remove all the fools from the market, who will buy rotten bananas? so there is an interest even on rotten bananas being in the market, and for a fool to come and say mimi nipe hii for economy. So we want a marketplace of ideas, and that is what freedom of information is supposed to do. That if I start saying, this KIPCHUMBA usually do not tuck in, and it might be outright lie, then somebody saying, no, you only don't tuck in on Tuesday. You see, from that trash, we are developing and getting more information and more truth. So when you censor and when you agenda set, for example, you say, because land is a motive issue, let us not talk about land. Because insecurity is a very emotive issue. Anytime somebody talk of insecurity, even as a right, and demand from the government the same to protect that right to security, then you are insightful. You find that we are so artificial that we leave real issues that touch our life. So what we see on public and whatever has no meaning. And people are smart, because that people are diverting to social media in real time. All the revolution which has happened has been driven by social media. So mainstream media are actually playing catch up.
All right. Okay. Getting directly to ELGEYO Marakwet, or Kerio Valley for that matter, because when I say ELGEYO Marakwet, then it somehow isolates the other region. So all of Kerio Valley, there's been an issue of security or insecurity.
Correct.
And I think it's no longer a question of what is the security, is the state of insecurity. Because it seems that we have more insecurity than security. So it would be oxymoronic to ask about the state of security, which is non-existent. What is the state of insecurity? You told me last week that you are heading down to Kerio Valley for a meeting. This is something that has been happening for a very long time. And people have pinned it on different issues. Some have talked about resources, natural resources that have some level of interest there. People have talked about the resources of the cows and the pastoralist communities that they keep. Yes, I mean, and there's a time that your friend, the one you've been pulling noses with, Natembea, was saying, ng'ombe akikombe nusu ya maziwa munapigania hapa.
That is what they own.
I mean, so there's been a whole lot of speculations on what is really causing the insecurity in Kerio Valley. But you come from there. You were born there. You grew up there. You definitely know the issues that affect these people. You know what they fight over and what they don't fight over. You know what unites them and what sets them apart. What's going on there?
Well, first of all, I must say that the problem of insecurity in Kerio Valley is a very old historical problem, which was there from 70s, 80s. You remember the story of the President Kenyatta and the Ngoroko and arresting of people like Lotodo and all these people that are from all those old days, and the fights that used to happen. In fact, even before the advent of guns, there used to be raids across communities and all that. If you go to border between us and South Sudan, us and Uganda, there used to be Karamojang and Turkanas and Pokots and all that. But over time, the situation has become extremely complicated by the availability of guns and very sophisticated guns and bullets and all that, and the market, sometimes fueled by porous borders, like South Sudan. Some time ago it was Ethiopia. You go to Somalia. All this, the accessibility of guns, small arms actually, literally, and the fact that the market for these small arms has become now the pastoralist areas because of the marginalization, access problems, and because of that, the situation became so worse in the 90s in Kerio Valley, and particularly on our side, because guns. People acquire guns as they come from the border coming inwards. If you don't block it, actually the rest of you should be thanking Marakwet, because what's happening in Marakwet and Baringo has stopped the guns coming to Nakuru and then moving all the way to Kisumu. It is now we are the weakest link, because we are the far end of that guns distribution or proliferation. And we lost so many people in the 90s. Terribly so. I remember people who were my classmates, schoolmates. I know a gentleman who was even going to join first year in 1999, and he was killed just before he went to school. And I know professionals, all that. You know the story of children who were killed just before the 2002 elections. They were going for polio vaccination, and 11 children were killed at Tot Health Center. You must have read the story of the Murkutwa massacre, where raiders, or not raiders, bandits came, crossed over, burned houses and killed over 40 people, and a whole village was wiped. All this became so bad that in 2002, literally, the Marakwet people decided that they were going to vote for President Mwai Kibaki. And as a result, we were the constituents, actually. And I'm glad I was one of those people who campaigned for Honorable Lina Kilimo. We were the constituencies that were among the few constituencies that provided an MP who was then in the opposition. Part of it was part of the protest of the insecurity in that area. And after that, the government of the day, during the Kibaki's regime, a lot of conversation went. We had an MP across in Tiatich who was from who was Kibaki side, who was called Kamama, and you had an MP from Kibaki side who was called Lina on this other side. So all of them now on both were in cabinet at different times. A lot of conversation went to all this. But the bandits, of course, feared the fact that if you have a cabinet secretary from across the road or a minister across the road, the possibility is that if this cabinet secretary is in government response will be more lethal. So, of course, coupled with the efforts they put in place to facilitate conversation, we put in place elders that were whatever, an agreement on how to work together. This relationship went so well. In 2012, before I was elected, I participated in a Red Cross project, that was supplying water to both Marakwet and Tiati constituency, irrigating about a good size of 500 acres on both sides, and assisted the communities to now work together. In 2015, now this problem started again. There used to be small problems here. Some few people stealing here, the community ganging up together, reporting them, returning the livestock, and all that. But from 2014 there, we insisted that the government should have proper response. When did we change the cabinet? When did Ngaiseri came to office after Olelengu? In Olelengu's reign, we hadn't started getting that problem, but it was immediately after we remember we were dealing with terrorism and all that. Then suddenly this situation came back on our side. We reported to the government the criminals because they were working together. They were living in Marakwet initially, and then they went back to Poko, that side of Tiati, and in Baringo County. And we reported and told government, you need to arrest this situation as early as this. And they told us, this is government of Kenya. The government of Kenya cannot be defeated. We will arrest Samuel. He was called Samuel, with his team. Samuel became a continuous conversation for almost 2 years. He wasn't arrested. He even died later in a raid somewhere. And so from there, the criminals again got emboldened. There's a generation of a huge generation in Tiati constituency of young people who have not gone to school. If you look at those raiders, even sometimes when the police kill them, they're 16, 17 years. The factors that really, you become you feel very sad because they are also victims of the circumstance. They are criminals, but they are victims of state inaction. So the real truth is that even though communities are being blamed, that, oh, you should have talked, you should live in peace, it's not about communities. We have criminals on both sides of the political, of the geographical boundary, which is basically the counties. In both West Pokot, in ELGEYO, Marakwet, and Baringo, you have criminals. But the best way to apprehend these criminals is to make sure that government presence is there to act. They say usipozipa ufa utajenga ukuta. And Samuel and this circumstance has opened insecurity in the area for you know, imagine from 2014 we've had this conversation. I remember in 2017 we went for campaign with the president in a place called Chesongoch. We are with President Uhuru Kenyatta there campaigning, and the raiders are raiding, gunshots, you know, less than 5 kilometers away from where we were.
Wow.
I mean,
The
even when the boldness of these criminals, the audacity, you know, the fact that you have a head of state in a particular area, the commander-in-chief, and they are able to do that, means that these are criminals who are hardened and emboldened. The situation became so worse, but towards 2017, even up to 2018, the government agreed that to supplement security situation, we need to have a national police reservist sourced from locals to work together on both sides, on the 3 counties.
Okay.
And they deployed a sizable number working together with the police. Then the situation became silent. Because then the criminals knew that there will be lethal response.
Yes.
You know, the advantage of having a national police reserve is that these are locals who have interests to protect their land and resources.
And they know the people.
So they know the terrain, they are interested, and so they also encourage the police officers who come from other places. I don't know how police used to be before. It appears to me that most of them used to commit themselves 100% to the cause and die for the country. Maybe over time, how we have governed this nation, this is also a stage where a soldier will not die for the country. Yeah, they will also say, "Nah, but who will take care of my children?" Who will take care of my? So, but the locals have that certain level of courage because they are protecting life and property. The people they know, including themselves.
Yes.
And suddenly, if you read in the newspapers, government policy was changed around 2018, 2019. I have asked so many questions about this in Bunge, but the story was that, because that area, you remember when they started now fighting the deputy president, they said, that area is where it comes from. We need to remove this NPR, these are private soldiers, militia. They called it private militia. They ran stories in the newspaper, 2-3 pages of newspapers.
Yes.
Then suddenly they quietly withdrew all the NPR.
Wow.
Now the criminals became, of course, they are neighbors there, so they realize, no, now these people are vulnerable. Since we know they don't have guns, they don't have bullets, whatever, they are now vulnerable. That's how we were attacked. And this attack has gone on, and it's become so, it's very sad. We've lost, I've gone for funerals for all kind of people. A primary school child, you remember they killed a mother with her 2 children.
Yeah.
They killed a clinical officer who was working in the area, and he was born and brought up in the area. They killed an agricultural officer who was from Ziwa. It was from Moisbridge. They killed even, I can't count. I mean, young, old, youth. Now today we are burying 3 people who are killed. 2 women and a gentleman.
Leo.
Yeah, today, a funeral of 3. A service is going on in a short while.
A joint service.
At joint service at Sambalat. To have this, all these. I mean, it's very painful. I feel very pained, and I have talked to the CAs. We have talked to the president. We have had conversation with the county commissioners, regional commissioners, and also all that. We've had meetings, countless meetings. Sometimes even when we go to the ground, like we went last week, the people are saying, "Please tell us something new. Let's not waste time having this discussion." Yes. What is that new thing that you've come to do?
What's the innovation?
What is the innovation? What is the response? When was that? On Friday, yes.
Yes.
On Friday, we had a security meeting again. After having one on Monday, was it Monday, in Tot? We had another one now in Nakuru, where all the leaders from the 3 counties came, or a greater representation of the leaders. I'm always the one who represents the senators in the 3 counties, because the other senators are a bit busy. So we convened in Nakuru. We had a very robust discussion. There has been, we count every day now, so there has been no loss of life from Saturday. That was Friday, so there's been no loss of life from Friday up to now. There, people, if you go sleep and wake up and nobody has died, you say, okay, another day has happened.
You live a day at a time.
Greater response. We have sent people they have sent the police, the security people, and all that. And we hope there will be greater security provision for our people, particularly because now elections is approaching. We all, in our discussion security meeting, we asked the CS to return
Police
a
reservists.
good number of police reservists to work together with the regular police, and they said they are going to look into that, and they are going to do it, so hopefully that will be implemented. There is a role for citizens though. This is not just like now security work. There is also conflict resolution and peace building.
Yes.
And that happens when we have greater interaction like we have had before. We, from 2017, 2018, we have had meetings in West Pokot, Baringo, ELGEYO, MARAKWET, West Pokot, Baringo, ELGEYO, MARAKWET. In 2019, we signed peace agreement for the 3 counties in Chesegon, witnessed by the Deputy President, and we agreed that we work together towards ensuring that we live in peace. We report criminals to government. We return livestock that we realize that they have been raided from other places. And so there is a role that is played by citizens. And the citizens, we've sensitized them, but there should be greater facilitation for peace building in terms of putting more resources. But what is the long-term solution? The long-term solution for me is to open that valley and greater investment in that area. I don't think the long-term solution is having many policemen and the army and all that. The long-term solution is, one, to open the place.
Human development.
Human development. If you look at Tiati constituency, it's a problem to Samburus, it's a problem to the Turkana, it's a problem to like Kipia, it's a problem to the parts of Baringo, as Baringo South and Baringo North. It's a problem now to Marakwet East and Marakwet West. So one constituency, because it has become a breeding ground and hiding place for bandits, has affected security in the whole of the valley. In fact, there is a lot of improvement on matter security from West Pokot and the Marakwet side. But when you talk about the Tiati constituency is our Achilles for that region. It's a pain that is bothering us in that particular region. What do we need to do? Open the place, open roads, build schools, allow churches to be built in that place, build good roads, do irrigation, let people do good farming. If we do all that, then it gives us room to do we can do that parallel or concurrently with disarmament, a proper disarmament. And disarmament is not such an easy thing. Government keeps saying that we'll do disarmament. But what they do is just pop, and then a year, the bandits go quiet because they know there's
an activity going on.
There's a concentration of the state in that area, so they hide. But for as long as the supply chain is there, the what we call the supply side of the guns and the bullets is steady. I mean, we are not going to reach anywhere. Some of these bullets come from actually government factories, and it's very sad that there are people. It's either that the police themselves sell, or they are the people who are able to sell from the factory to criminals. Be it as it may, I believe that these communities have a chance to work together towards this by having greater investment and development in that area. And we have been saying and arguing, we argued with this government that we needed more things to be done. Roads are being done. Roads are already being done, but more will need to be done to connect these constituencies with all the other constituencies and give room for the police officers and people, human interaction to be improved. But more work needs to be done. Schools, irrigation, supply of water, enabling people to settle. Because this conflict has now mutated to the stage where we are being told the cows that are stolen have also the market and the people who buy and go and sell. We are also now told that because of the large mineral deposit in Tiati constituency, including geothermal and all that this conflict has now moved from purely matters to do with livestock, and it's going to also resources, which is now land protection and land control, so that we don't want the country to reach a stage where you will have warlords determining, like in some places in Africa, where you have to pay some group of warlords for you to access gold or to access diamond
resources,
or to access oil. If we don't become careful, that's where it will go. And the state must be able, and it will become a national disaster because at the moment, the proportion of the loss of lives we are having in Kerio Valley, I mean, in 1 year, you can count out of between 50 and 70 people. You know, this is terrible. And the role of the state is to provide security. So anyway, the minister promised that action is going to be taken. Disarmament is going to be done. Security will going to be provided. We wait to see if that is going to happen. But on our part, we will continue looking for ways of conversing together with the other communities. Unfortunately, at the moment, it's a campaign time, so many political players are not available for this level of engagement. But we've been telling our chiefs and elders to have one-on-one, human-to-human conversation. What I will, as a last part of it, what I'll discourage completely is the idea that Pokots are bandits, Marakwets are bandits, Tukens are bandits. I think that is very terrible profiling. It's not good. All these people, these are criminals existing in a society. State doesn't say, because you remember nowadays security robberies and robbery with violence has gone down. Why? Because government invested on lights, police equipment, police presence, surveillance, cameras. So in Nairobi is safer now than it was 10 years ago, because there's an investment that was put by this government. You know, the country is even safer from terrorism because there is an investment that we've put in so far as that issue. Government can put investment on all matters, cattle rustling, whether it is in our region, in Kerio Valley, or is in the north. You go to Marsabit, Upper Eastern, or in the Northeastern. All these things can be sorted if proper government presence is put in place and government response. And understanding that insecurity anywhere is insecurity everywhere. You don't leave it to say, sometimes I hear government officials coming to say, you are killing your people. I saw this Natembea going around and saying, oh, you know, MURKOMEN comes to meetings and leaves. Why can't he sit there and provide security? He himself was in my county maybe 2 or 3 times. And most of the times he was barking and biting nothing. You know, all the time. If indeed he did anything, and if he did anything, why are people dying in Kerio Valley? Does it mean that it was only... why were people dying? Why did the medical officer die, as I said? Why did the lady... why was he shot with her children? An orphan with 2 children. Why did the... agriculture officer, Mr. Soom, get killed when he was in office? All those people died when he was in office. I mean, over 50 people in 1 year died in Kerio Valley when he was in office. What is his record? He's going to tell pastoralists, oh, you know, you need to sell these cows that you have because the milk it gives. Who told him that those people keep livestock because of milk? They keep it because of beef. You know, it has nothing to do with milk. And they have a right to keep it because of beef. You, instead of telling them, you need to increase the number of livestock you have here and you graze them in this area and make sure that you have good market for beef. You don't go and steal livestock from other people. He's telling them things about they have to behave as though they are in Transoia. You know, that was a person who was completely incompetent. The incompetence of that man stings to heavens. Because if you, and I told the new county commissioner, you bite and then you back later. You know, you show, you demonstrate. Don't come and tell us here, oh, you know, Michuki was my mentor. Be Michuki first. You know, solve the problem. Michuki didn't talk much. He talked once and work was done. He's talking, you know, promising people. He was telling people the other day that now that I have no longer a police officer in the administration, now I have come here, I will allow you to brew changa. You know, that man is just a clown. And therefore, I just want to say this, that we want public officers who have the desire to sort problems that affect people and who don't stereotype people. You know, you have been employed to sort insecurity. You go to a place and say, you Pokots, you don't even wear clothes. Yeah, you are having too many children here and killing each other like rats.
Savage.
It's the reason why you are employed in government and you are paid taxpayer money is to improve the livelihoods of these people. That means provide services to these people so that they can go to school and become who they ought to be. You know, you don't become also part of the stereotypes. You know, you walk here and say, your leaders have not brought peace. They are not sorting insecurity. It's not about us. I was not hired to carry a gun. Yeah, I can foster a good relationship with my neighbors. I can push for development in my area. I push for security in that area. But once the security officers have come to the ground, they have a responsibility to solve that problem. But to go around, I saw him speaking to some young man here in Mao, yeah, and he's insulting a very small boy. Why are you not in school? Why are you carrying on camera? That style of leadership is a cake. We want leaders who have respect for the people they serve. Gerald, I tell you something. You may see Murkomen is Mkali hapa. He speaks very serious on the issues. He can tell of other politicians and tell of but when I am in ELGEYO Marakwet County, they are my bosses. I listen. Okay. Yeah, that is where I get lectured. You know, people stand and start saying, KIPCHUMBA, why have we not done this? Why have you not done? And you will find me lying low and saying, okay, fine. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to do everything when I go back to Nairobi, to go to Bunge, to go to any office, speak to any officer to make sure that you achieve what you want to achieve. Okay. When you are in serving people, you must understand and must have the humility to appreciate that for us, my friend, to be called big man, senator, whatever, it takes that guy who doesn't have a trouser. Yeah? It takes that child. It takes that mama at home who doesn't have a meal or who takes only 1 meal a day for us to be here, because their vote is the one that makes us great and makes us people to be known. And I want to tell the people of Trans Nzoia that although my friend Atebea said the things he said about me, I have no personal issues with him, but I need to tell the people of Trans Nzoia, buyer beware. Yeah, you know, when they say buyer beware, is that this is on your own. You're on your own. If you go for him volunteer, volunteer and fit injuria, you know, this is harm that you've invited on yourself, because the situation we have gone through in Kerio Valley does not deserve that kind of management. And I hope that the security manager, I've told Regional Commissioner Mali, then we have a new county commissioner called Korir, we have a new county commissioner in Baringo, the Sogola is still the county commissioner in West Pokot, and we've told all of them that you have our maximum support. I was with Honorable Onyangapo. I don't agree with him on political issues, but we sat there with Kamket and I told him, my friend, when it comes to these peace issues, we will hold our hands together. We will work for our people. I will never talk ill about community, this community or that community. We will do our best to make sure that we bring our people together. But government should play its part. And every one of us told government, security managers, you must do your part.
All right. Before I let you know, Juang, on that, I mean, there's a question that we almost not answer every time about these issues. There needs to be a source. Every river has a source. Yeah. What is the issues actually? What are these issues that makes these people push and pull all this time?
Remember that insecurity or lack of governance, proper security management, yeah, creates a room for anarchy. And do you know we have so many young people in that valley who have not gone to school on all these other counties, and so raiding livestock and going to sell where you have the market, or even going to keep them. You know, in the old days, there's an explanation people still give that, they come for raid so that they go and marry. It's not so much about marriage now. It's more about commercial benefit, which is you come and raid, you go and sell, you make money for yourself, you make money for the people whom you are working with. Maybe somebody is even leasing guns to these young people, giving them bullets and expecting certain results, because there was a time that an investigation was done And some of the livestock that was stolen from our place were found in some ranches in Laikipia, meaning that there are buyers on the other end. And if government used its resources, they would be able to have, they will be able to get who are the financiers, because there must be some financiers. There must be people who provide these incentives to these young people and give them the money. Because if they steal the livestock only and take them home, and they are not selling anywhere, they will not have money to buy bullets. But the reason why they get stronger and stronger all the time is that there is a person who sells the bullets, there is the one who buys the cows, and there's the one who sells the guns, and where they buy the small arms. So all that is within the capacity and ability of government to establish.
So shida ni wizi wa ng'ombe na ni pesa.
It is, by the way,
it's a business.
If you want to appreciate Gerald, take it like, ask yourself, who are these people stealing cars in Nairobi? Just, if you reason like that, because, you know, we've stereotyped the pastoralist areas to look like, you know, that is
culture.
That's culture. That is, it's less of a crime. It's less concern of human beings. I mean, some 2 people, 3 people died. Okay, to wrestling. Oh, sorry. But if 3 people die in Nairobi because robbers were trying to hijack someone or to take their car, steal their car, it will be a big problem. We will, all of us say here, security in Nairobi has become bad.
Very bad.
Tourists are not coming. There is a note from embassies abroad. Governments abroad to their embassies giving alerts to their citizens that, if you travel to Kenya, be very careful. Carjackings are high. Citizens of country X and Y. But more people are dying because of there are more people who are dying in ELGEYO MARAKWET, or who died in ELGEYO MARAKWET, than in Kerio than Corona. You know, and you have so many people disabled. I found a young man in a road the other day, man. We couldn't hold our tears because he says, a few weeks ago I had my hand. Look at me now, I don't have a hand. I don't even know where to start, because I am now at the age where I am doing physical work. I was at the age where I'm going to be more productive. Now I have no hand, and I have never known, it's not like something I was born with. I've never known how to readjust. So you look, there are people also living with terrible injuries, no legs, no hands, bullets launched their bodies and all that. And this is something that should prick the conscience of this country. And I hope and I believe that if the government was working, like they say they're working in offices, not on top of cars, Kerio Valley would be safe.
Right.
I have a few questions and maybe a comment, because I saw even the president's response to the scrap metal problem, how definite and quick it was. You know, I know, like if you are in the US, they talk of this is a black on black crime. And it's like, let's not do anything, wanajiua wenyewe. As if, you know, it's not government responsibility.
Correct.
They are killing each other. They are so bad. They are almost half human, half demons who kill each other. Therefore, it's not a regular crime.
Don't mind them.
They are on their own kind of thing. It's actually, the message is, because you don't hear white on white crime.
Correct.
It's a code of why bother? Let them finish each other. So that typifying of crime as wanajifanyia wenyewe. But I agree with what you're saying. Professor Mkutu have done a lot of work there, and he's calling the place ungoverned territory.
Correct.
That if you look at the spacing of police station, if you look at the spacing of hospitals, then you can discover it is ungoverned region. And that already bring into the issue of government, laxta, and policies that have isolated and stereotyped them. Again, I think the idea of the supply, because here is Kenya signing this beautiful treaty, small arms treaty in Nairobi, but not going to the ground and mapping and making sure these small arms don't get into the country. So you sign this beautiful treaty in New York in the nice hotel, and you're saying we have joined as the world to stop small arms, but then at the end of the day, you continue and you don't care where you don't map it well. Again, I think the point of human development. You know, the way we think of security is hard security.
Correct.
It is a gun, it's chains, it is you on the cell. But development is a security issue.
Correct.
And a development is a security issue. So that if I'm less developed, and if the government attitude is, when will you stop those cutlasses so that I start talking to you seriously, kind of thing, then I will be underdeveloped. And when I'm underdeveloped, I will not be able to do a few things, and crime will thrive. And then you stereotype further. So that if you look at that region and what Mheshimiwa fought for, you can now see the meaning of why he was rejecting the revenue formula. Because people will run from that place, there's insecurity. People will go to safer places. And so if you only look at population and say, I'm going to count those who are here, other regions are going to be marginalized further. It is government resources. It should be going to develop places left behind. But you are going to say, we are going to develop those who are developed. You know, the biblical thing of those who have much shall be added. And those who have little,
the little shall be taken, the little they have will take from them.
And that is the model there. But I got disappointed with Mheshimiwa when he's saying this problem is long, starting from 80s. Now 80s is not long. I don't know, when you are young, maybe 80s is a big deal. I was born in 79, so 80s is not long.
The other day, you are never too old on yourself.
I was expecting, because that is not long, Mheshimiwa, you understand? It means that before there was mechanism that worked.
Correct.
And Professor Mkutu have written about it, that the weakening of institution of elders.
Correct.
Has killed us.
Correct.
That before it was measured. You had an institution, there was governance. You will go to an elder and say, our cows have been stolen. What do we do? And they will say, we will investigate and we will get back your cows. You will find that institution which will say, no matter what you do, don't take lives.
Correct.
So it was regulated.
The rules of war.
There was rules of war, rules and all that. You can't go this far. No, they took 3 cows. Go take 5.
Correct.
But don't take 100 for crying aloud. And so I think that the problem 80s is recent, really, if we look at the context, isn't it? So then there were some things that work, but the government ignored those institutions. It neglected it because the government parachute when there's a problem with the military, hit whatever they want, withdraw, and there is no presence typically. Then number 3, I thought that, okay, so now in this region and governed territory, the issue is development. The way we define security in this country is very primitive, because security means the survival of the regime.
Correct.
Nani anapinga serikali?
Correct.
Maybe right now the amount of energy and government resources in checking what are the people tweeting about the government or the government candidate is more than, and so the security is defined in such a narrow way that is about survival of the regime and not about the people. And that is the problem. But then I think that as Kenyans, you know, you'll find breaking news and 3 people were killed. Where?
That one. The cows are dead.
Yes. What's wrong with these people?
You blame
Where
it
do
on
they
them
learn?
You blame it on them.
Yes, and so I'm quite intrigued. Even if our reporters could report the human face and the human stories.
Correct.
You hear the account he has given us. This woman with her children. And now you can relate and say, you know, but when it is simply bandits, shoots again. 6, you know, they say statistics are numbers with tears washed off. All you hear is, you don't hear the human story. This is so-and-so who was going to the university, who was killed, and therefore we are burying him. All you hear is in that region, 1 more was killed. And so the way this thing is reported does not provoke empathy or understanding.
Okay.
It is reported in a way that it is simply statistics. It is impersonal. You know, if now I tell you why, this was so and so, this is her names, this was her age, this is the village she was coming from, this was her hobby, she was killed, then you start saying, wow, this is a human. And so I don't know, but I think the biggest disappointment, Mheshimiwa, could be the rest of Kenyans. You see, Kenyans are very selfish. If something bad happens at the coast, or the government is doing something bad, they're like, let custodians wapambane now. Me, I'll wait for Luola. When
or Nairobi.
Or Nairobi, where I live. That space, as long as that space is okay. When something bad is happening in our Migingo Island, Wajalu and the fishermen, let them deal with it. But you find, you know, the typical thing of if I saw them come for so and so, I kept quiet, and soon there was nobody to talk for me. Literally. If Kenyans could stand up and say, you know what, this Nyamachoma, maybe a meeting here, does it have connection? Maybe be a vegetarian for once. I'm talking to you. You need to take this seriously. Because some of this meat end up in Nairobi. And people want nyama choma. What do we do for the weekend? Let's be me. And you don't connect. We saw people boycott diamonds. When a documentary came on the blood diamond. But here is a Kenyan, you just poke, nyama nini.
But you're not asking yourself, where is it coming?
You don't make the connection. And I'm not trying to put people on a guilt trip. I'm just saying the awareness. And you see, that is what happened to Americans. Yes, consciousness.
It's called rules of origin.
Yes, rules of origin. Where does your food come from? Kwani we ni mende tu na unakula tu umekuja. You need to know where your food is grown. And then be conscious. Be conscious for once. You know, if you look at even the terrorists, at some point, when the terrorists were talking, when I used to listen to a lot of those terrorist tapes, they were saying, okay, now, if you come from this country, what your government is doing is not right. And we expect you to speak against what your government is doing. And if you don't speak, then don't call yourself a victim. They were wrong in a way because these are civilians. But still, they're saying, don't just open your mouth, eat burger every day and go to sleep. And you don't care what the U.S. policy on Middle East is. That they are in our country and they're doing this and this and we don't like it. And that has nothing to do with you. Yet, at the end of the day, we are expecting you to talk. If something is not right. So I think that Kenyans need to get rid of that selfishness. Because if now KIPCHUMBA is arrested unfairly, that is a UD affair. Whether I'm a human rights attorney, whether I believe in human rights, I can only raise my voice when it is my side. And so that narrow life, as if the right thing is only right when you are doing it. And looking at everything in terms of political lens, Kenyans have a challenge there. And it's like whoever is perpetrating this have figured us out. Leo nikifinya bitalk, the only people who will talk are his neighbors. Then kesho ninaida nafinya his neighbors. Nobody will
people will
keep until it get your time to be finywa. Instead of saying injustice everywhere,
justice somewhere. Injustice
everywhere. So when I look at that region, and when I've seen the work of Professor Mkutu in that ungoverned territory, you are seeing militarization, you are seeing stereotype. I don't like the way you live. Do you know, forget cattle raiding. Just the idea of living as a pastoralist is something disgusting to the government. It's a crime. You are on your own. When will you settle and start farming like a normal person? Look at your high school definition, actually primary school definition of a pastoralist. As somebody
moved from one place to another.
Wandering. From a place to place in search of pasture.
Water and pasture.
That informed the government policy. Then you now find the Tomboya sessional paper. Kenya will now concentrate on places that can generate wealth and leave those suckers to be primitive and kill each other. That attitude is in the policy. It is in where we are saying other regions are important, right? Other regions are important. Other regions should not die. If people die out of terrorism, and it's unfortunate, you find it is headline.
Correct.
This thing could be you, because people empathize. It could be me. I could have been the one going for shopping.
Correct.
And then the door is closed.
Because we live a certain life. I mean, it's a middle class. It's an area that middle class
Can be.
I mean, if there is terrorism in Nairobi, that pastor in Tiati will not care. Okay, if you are to flip it this way, because this is now where government will respond. There is government, there is news, it is trending for all, there is memorials, you know, there will be anniversaries.
Dogs from China.
Exactly. There will be I mean, there will
There's
be
going to Somalia.
Going to Somalia.
Yes.
There will be 1 year, there will be a memorial every year to commemorate that situation. We still say, you know, it happened 1998. But the 11
know
children,
the heroes.
Yeah, but the 11 children who were killed in Tot Health Center when they were undergoing polio vaccination by bandits, nobody remembers, you know. The Murkuto massacre, nobody says, okay, we meet and, you know, all that kind of thing. Not because the locals cannot meet, but I'm just saying the situation of government doesn't see it that this should be one of those never again.
Othering.
To say never again. They just say,
Moment.
oh, they've died. And even when they land there, nimewambia nyinyi, mutawache hii maneno. Mutafanya hii namna. But they don't come and tell criminals in Nairobi, nimewambia nyinyi, you will do this, you will do that. That is one of the reasons why it's the mindset. It's the mindset. You meet people. You meet a man who has maybe 1,000, over 500 goats, yeah, but doesn't have a trouser, doesn't have even a boxer. He only has some
Leso.
Some leso is wrapping. What do we call that? We call it kaniki. It's wrapped around here, you know. Then you start saying he's a poor man.
Because it doesn't have a
You
box.
don't even have that amount of livestock here then. Yeah.
Even if you need money.
Yeah. If you convert the 500 cows he has and what
He's
the
a
officer
billionaire.
was coming and you come and tell them, you know,
You're poor.
Those people are rich. Yeah. They want protection of that livestock as they are. That is their life they have chosen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So protect them their own
self-determination.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the self-determination. They have chosen to rear livestock and to live. And they sleep well. They are healthy. They rarely need medical whatever because they walk for a long distance. They take
Wandering.
herbs. They take
The
herbs
young
and they,
is-
you know. So the point is that don't now characterize that to primitivity. And therefore deserving less of security because he doesn't live in a
Apartment.
12-story
Gated
an apartment,
community.
a gated community.
He doesn't go to Java. Can
Live
you
in
believe?
suburbs of Nairobi.
He doesn't
This
do
guy
Java.
doesn't know even Java. Imagine he's not on Twitter and Instagram.
What's wrong with
him? So we are laughing, but it's a serious matter. It's a
it
very
is.
serious matter.
No,
you know?
we are the primitive lot, by the
Exactly,
way.
exactly.
They are, because this is somebody who has chosen his life.
Yeah.
Here, life
Yeah.
is chosen
They
for
have
you.
self-determined.
Yeah. So government must provide security to all, change attitudes towards insecurity in pastoralist areas, and characterize kid rustling as a crime that is because murder is murder, robbery is robbery, theft is theft. It doesn't matter where it happens and what kind of property it is being stolen. So that is the attitude we are saying we want to change. We want to ensure that we push government to change that attitude. I've worked on this security thing. It's a bit complex, but you need government commitment. Once you have government commitment and presence and resources, you sort out.
And I think about it, big talk. If I'm in this village, I only see government when they are coming to disarm or beat me. Am I motivated to snitch, so to speak?
Yeah, correct.
You know,
Correct.
they say in the hood, snitches get stitches. Because
Yeah.
I will snitch,
Yeah.
the person will go,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
the person I snitched on,
Yeah.
or his peers, will come for me.
Absolutely.
So, you must understand why they're not going to say,
Yeah.
everything, I don't trust you, you are not here.
Yeah.
And now we are going to live and have security on our hands.
Right.
So that we have this community thinking, we have this group thinking, not as a primitive nini, but as a mode of our survival.
Correct.
Okay, all right. But I think it's just the government that maybe is not very cool, because we remember the days of Marakwe.
Yeah. Correct.
The man of the mountain.
Yes,
it's
correct.
about it. I mean, the most treacherous terrain, the craziest of all chaotic chaos and crime that happened there. The murders that happened there, I mean, almost unbelievable. The operation that they had there was, I mean, it was military style.
Yeah.
By the bandits. But now they control it. Almost a decade later, Montelgon has remained with peace.
You know why? Because it is closer to, in quotes, civilization. Yeah?
White Islands.
It was a threat to civilization.
Yeah.
I mean, where's Montelgon? It's in Bungoma.
Yes.
Yeah, it's closer to Kitale, a place with an airport, a club.
Where they're telling you to be like.
You get what I'm saying? It's closer to civilization.
So the farther you are, the less of a bother.
The more primitive you are considered. The security is not an issue.
That's why you hear it's Pokot on Pokot.
They say, Pokots have come again. Oh, those Marakwets are fighting again, you know? But when it happens, they'll say insecurity in Nairobi or in Nakuru. It's a threat to national unity. You can't allow that. I mean, and as I said, the attitude needs to change.
No, the attitude. But they're ignorant. I don't think they even know. I don't think Mheshimiwa that Natembeya even know he's doing the wrong thing. For real. No, honestly, of course,
that is how he has been socialized.
Yes, he does not know this other side, because when now you look at somebody and you know the role of the government and you know that your job is not to change how he want to live their life, as long as it's not a crime, and they are actually not poor, but in your image of what somebody who has made it does, they don't fit.
And
you load your ignorance, you load your primitivity, and you feel your job is to lecture them and not to persuade them, and they only should get these services if they stop. I remember there's a time Museveni said, we cannot wait for Karamoja to put on clothes for us to build tarmac roads. Meaning you are disgusting. You are half human, half demon. And then you get civilized.
All right, so you're going to open up the calls only on the issues affecting Elgeyo Marakwet. You're opening up the first mambo tu ya Elgeyo Marakwet, tafadhali. Kabla hatujaingia mambo ya magari juu na magari chini, kupepea na kupeperushwa. 0779-800-010, 0779-800-010, fungua simu 0779-800-010. Mambo ya Elgeyo Marakwet peke yake. Pia Elgeyo Marakwet issues on the issue of security. Haya, saidia simu pale tafadhali. Good morning, Bungala Manyenchi. Have your headphones, please.
Good morning, GP. Mambo namna gani?
Okay, sorry.
Jambo sana, mambo boss.
Hello.
Good morning.
Salama. Habari mheshimiwa Murkomen.
Salama sana.
Na profesa
Salameni, habari nzuri.
Sasa mzuri. Sasa leo mumeleta topic ambayo is very close to my heart than anything else. I think I'm on record here last week, I think. About the same thing issue. You know, nimesikiza vizuri sana, and I think these are people who should be put in a panel to look into the issues that affect there. Because recently, wakati nilikuwa Kenya, I was working with some women from Tiati by one pastor, you know, Gideon Atila. Because, you know, this issue ambayo insecurity is very close to me, because I've lost very good and very close friends across the board from all the communities there. And as latest as Thursday, a young man that I met in Marigat the other day when I was there in Kenya, and on Thursday I was told, Thursday or Friday he was shot dead. And it's somebody who was very promising. And I've heard people, you guys discuss, and mumetumia kizungu kwa ambayo mimi na respect nyinyi ni wanatia. Human development. Nature cannot allow vacuum. And in any kind of human development that is lacking, something will chip in to cater for that.
For the vacuum, yes.
And I'm telling you, the issues there is deep-seated, that a muzzle of a gun cannot quell or kupoesha hiyo vita mambo. Because generations, hata nimesikia Murkomen anasema, there is a generation that has gotten into this, and it will take generations kujaribu kutuliza hii maneno in human development. Kama ni mashule, Wakati unaenda, mtu anaenda vita, amejua mtoto amewacha nyumbani, hana chochote, hajakula chochote. Ninyi mnakula kila kitu town Nairobi, wale watu hajui kitu mtu atakula. How do you expect to fight with that kind of a person? He's lost everything. He's got nothing else to lose. He's lost everything. The only thing left is him to lose his own life. So he's fighting like it's the end of the world. So wewe unaleta watu kama wale, mtu nimesikia amesema hapo mbele kwamba wengine ni kama wameogopa kupigania nchi, lakini hatutasema hivyo basi. Wale watu wako na shida sana. Unakuta mtoto anakaa amelia, hana chakula. Sasa wewe kama ambao wanafanya policy, and the problem is blanket condemnation of community, stereotyping of these communities, it makes situations more worse, and politicizing the issue. Kwa sababu wale watu wako pale are people who are already in a damaged situation. They need to be talked to be understood. Nini mnaenda kula Java? Wao wanajua Java ni nini. Now they pay the kind of the same taxes. Kama ni unga, wananunua unga bei sawa na mbaya, hapo na pesa. Mtu anaamka asubuhi ajui watoto watakula. Tutafunga wanasiasa siku zote, but there is an issue that they determine. Mimi nimesikia mmeongea mzuri sana. What I was thinking in my head was saying, I hope they walk with this talk. It is not just talk, because the talk has been there for a very long time. I hope we walk the walk now, because we cannot be losing. Mimi naangalia kama mama nilikuwa nikifanya na project na bio tatizo. At one stage in my life, they held my hand, because mimi nilisoma pale Loru. I understand the situation. Kuna wakati mama alitoka pale, hanijui mimi. I don't come from that community, but I come from that place. Lakini tulitoka na yeye kutoka Luruku, wanasema barabara imetengenezwa sana, kama barabara sana huko inahitajika, other than kuangalia vitu ya kwa sababu huyo mama alitoka na mimi from Luruku mpaka mahali inaitwa Kamsamaki Lake Baringo.
Okay.
And she bought me mandazi, and she doesn't know me. Because she held me as her own kid.
Yes.
What do you expect walking mtoto wa miaka 8 mnatembea naye 10 kilometers haja kula chochote? So when I return back kurudisha kwa community, it's because I know those women.
Yes.
They can give everything. Wao wako na roho kubwa zaidi hata kuliko watu wa town. Because they already lost everything. They know what the issues are. They know what hunger is. Mtoto akitembea na mwingine na hajakula. Sasa nyinyi wale wanatengeneza policy na kuja ku blanket condemnation of communities. It is making the situation worse, kwa sababu there is a language that has been spread there for years. Ya kusema adui. You know, that is a language that has been there across. Kutoka mahali Mungu kwa MURKOMEN anaishi mpaka huku kwingine kwa Samburu na Turkana kila mahali. That is the language, because kama ule kijana alipigwa risasi. Alipigwa kwa sababu alikuwa anatoka Marigat akienda Kapepe. And he's a young man that I met in the other day. So what I would really wish, wakati vile mmediscuss, those are the issues that need to be dealt with, and the government should really, sisi tunabeg the government to walk the talk. Isikuwa watu wanakufa tu town inakuwa ni fujo, lakini wale wakikufa ni kawaida yao. Let them one time come and live mahali kunaitwa Kenya ndogo, because sasa nyinyi mnaishi Kenya, you don't know what's going on.
Asante.
People are suffering, and that vacuum is what is the problem.
Thank you so much, my brother.
Thank you.
Asante sana, salimia watu wa Nijase. Thank you, my brother. All right, bunge la mwananchi jambo.
Bunge la mwananchi jambo, Gerald.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Very fine. This is Farid Faraj.
Yeah, Farid, leta habari.
Mimi mheshimiwa hapo na professor.
Asante sana. Masalimika.
My issue is being drawn to this cattle rustling issue that I issue year in, year out. I tend to believe that the issue is on the political side of it.
Okay.
People are politicizing this war.
All right.
When a court raised the MARAKWET leaders now start planning raids on the other end. I was speaking to a friend of mine who is in West Pokot.
Okay.
Whatever they are doing ni kulipiza kisasi na build chuki in, year out. Number two, there are a lot of articles that have been written about these wars in the valley, the ungoverned regions. A lot of professors have done work on that.
Okay.
Why can the government consider using whatever they have been picked and the recommendation in those articles to end these wars? Because if you see now, if I can walk more than 10 kilometers before finding a first hospital, if I can walk more than 10 kilometers to find a primary school that does not have classrooms, why can't the government invest in building infrastructure in those areas so that when people go to school, these wars will be reduced because you have a better view of war and their impact when knowledge is impacted to you. Because if I tell you now, like if MURKOMEN in the studio now and the professor argue, they can't fight. They'll argue, settle their scores. If it is not settled, they leave each other apart. But if you argue with a Pokot or any person from the valley without any knowledge, the next thing he rushes to the house, kama atatoa mshale, atatoa mkuki, kama si mkuki atatoa bunduki yake and shoots me down. Because there is little understanding, because they don't know the conflict resolution mechanisms. They just know their way is war. There's nothing beyond war, less than war.
Okay.
Okay, into the
interesting perspective. Okay.
Into the politics of ELGEYO MARAKWET, ama tusiguze siasa kidogo.
Hata wacha kwanza siasa, tumalize mambo kwanza security. Tunaingia siasa sasa hivi. Tunapanda juu ya gari sasa hivi. Thank you so much for it. Asante.
Karibu.
Asante.
You know why I thought that was interesting? Human dignity.
I'm saying Masi as well has been trying to reach us. Masi, utapiga simu, nasubiri simu yako.
Human dignity is, you must start from that point of view. That each person have their dignity. And there's this Kenya obsession with formal education. Somebody who has not gone to school.
Tusikie Mungwana. Bungela mwenye jambo. Mbio.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Bitok.
Haya, speedy baba. Naongea na nani?
This is Bundi. Ni Bundi kutoka Ruiru, eh?
Yes, Bundi, sir.
And I'm very happy today to talk to MURKOMEN.
Thank you, Bundi.
So, mimi sioni shida ikiwa legislation, but attitude ya Wakenya as a whole.
Okay.
Because I believe kuna watu wamesoma hizo area. I believe kuna youths wameenda shule. I believe kuna watu wako parliament wamesoma to a level that they can create policies that can govern those areas. I believe there are people who have goodwill kama MURKOMEN na daktari there who are in this country to protect people.
Okay.
And so when we hear these stories zenye watu wako huko wanakufa day in day out, regardless it is their choice to live as pastoralists, regardless it is their choice not to entertain education in their areas or whatever reason, those people should be protected.
It's not a crime not to go to school.
It's not a crime.
Or to farm wheat.
Yeah, it's not a crime. So regardless of what life I've chosen, it is my right. It is stipulated in the constitution that I should be protected.
Correct.
So lazima kuna mtu hata kwanza anapaswa kuenda kotini ajibu aseme kwa nini hao watu wanakufa day in day out. What is lacking? Ni nini hajapewa? Ni pesa alisema apewe kwa budget allocation akanyimwa ama ni nini? So my take is ndio tuende kwa siasa. Me, I hold the parliament, the Senate out.
Hello. Haya, ni kama huyo Mungwana ametuacha. Okay. Hello. Haya. Simu ya jamani kama kidogo ina shida. Acha tusikie huyo Mungwana anasema alikuwa na wewe St. Patrick's. Masi. Masi. Omenge. Unajua Omenge.
Emmanuel.
Emmanuel
was my classmate.
Sasa Omenge ni kama afuati instructions, nimemwambia vizuri simu ya kupiga, ni kama anapiga simu nyingine. Masi.
Hello.
Haya.
Sema ni aje?
Salama.
Yangu mimi ni kusema kwamba habari kwanza Professor Ojwang Dr. Ojwang na MURKOMEN, wewe ni Omenge?
Yes, Emmanuel.
So that's my brother.
Yeah, Emmanuel and I go a long way.
Yeah.
But wana bari.
So what do you think?
You should be telling people uko maju.
Mimi niko Maju, mimi niko Boston.
I'm calling from diaspora.
From Boston.
Blood brother kabisa.
And you'd be saying I'm calling from Boston.
I'm calling from Boston, guys.
I know.
Our name is Emmanuel.
So, huyu ni ndugu yangu.
Yes, Emmanuel.
Yeah, tunajua mahali tunakutana.
Correct.
So mimi yangu, I think the issue with the hii mambo ya bandits na kila kitu, what do you think is the solution in way? Because that thing is really worrying. It's been going on since more than maybe 30 years now.
Yes.
So what do you think has to happen? Because it seems the people up there in Nairobi na kila kitu have no idea, reality-wise, about what's going on in the, in that area, the Pokot, Turkana, the Marakwet, So that's my question. Yeah.
All right. Asante.
Can I react to all the three questions? First of all, I agree with most of the people who have spoken, the first and the second gentleman and Emmanuel. The thing is, it is not the law that is the problem. Okay. It is not the absence of policy in place. The biggest problem we are dealing with is the attitude and the will to be able to invest. For example, to invest in security in that area. For example, government says 45% of the resources go to areas that have cattle rustling, of security, interior. The CS Interior told us 45% of interior resources go to that area. So it's possible that money is being deployed to officers who, when they're on their ground, they just go and reside around the police stations, the operation areas. They don't go to the field to be able to deal with this situation. If you deploy the 45% of interior security operation money to develop that area, for example, to assist Professor Juang spoke about the system, the governance system that was existing. It's still existing up to now. The village elder is still there. It's part of the recognized government structure, moving to the assistant chief, the chief, and move up. In fact, the regional commission recently captured it well, that if crime is to happen, the person to blame first is the sub-chief and the village elder, because their responsibility is to relay information to the state. Okay. The place cannot continue being ungovernable if you have government officials that go to the lowest level. But what is the problem? They know, as Professor said, they cannot snitch on criminals when they don't have state protection. They cannot share information with the state when the response will not be swift. And if this information leak out, he will be the victim of revenge. And that has happened to a sub-chief in my place in Tot, where the sub-chief reported a criminal. The criminal, from the Marakwet side, the criminal went for his house, burned the house and all that. So he's now living in rental facility because the state itself did not. Yet, they will be quick to come and say, theft happened in this area, let the sub-chief be suspended because he was for inaction. He's sleeping on the job. But the reality is that you don't have the police operations to be able to take action immediately when needed to avert the situation. As I said earlier, this is a question of usipozipa ufa utajenga nini ukuta. Now we have a huge ukuta that is giving us a big problem because we have not been able to switch to put off the fire from the inception. And the attitudes. By the way, I wouldn't blame any leader from that region because we have gone to, we've been there with the president himself, giving direct promises to the people. So I am not less responsible. And the bullets. Exactly. I'm not more responsible in providing that security than the president, because the president, in fact, has a greater responsibility because he's the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, but also was voted by these people. He has a political responsibility as much as mine. But as a representative of my people at the local level, we have been to many of these meetings, to all these offices. And I think that the attitude of those who are managing security need to change. And if you have the people in the caliber of Natembea who come there, they make a lot of noise and with cameras all over, then when the day ends, they go back to Nakuru and enjoy their, life in Nyama Choma, exactly, without asking where the nyama came from. I
have a suggestion, anyway.
Yeah. So this this attitude need to change. I think management of the security system need to change, and I think going forward, if we get an opportunity to serve this country and some of us to play a greater role than we do at the moment, that area needs massive human development as a factor of dealing with security. Just like Nairobi, when we came to office as Jubilee, the idea that we distributed electricity in Nairobi, if you overfly Nairobi at night, it's, if you were to compare the pictures of 2012 and now, there's a big difference. And why? And why has crime gone down? Because of light. Statistics shown everywhere, whether it is Rio de Janeiro or Sao Paulo or other serious cities that used to have serious crime. When you light a city, you bring down robberies, rape, and all other crimes that were happening. Cameras in this Nairobi alone has changed the security situation, because a criminal knows that if I steal a car from here, it's followed through this camera and all that and all that. So the same way, we need direct government intervention on human development at the local level to make sure that these people can be able to access services like every other person, and security response becomes as quick as possible.
All right. As we sum up on this, let us suggestion, Masi, Mbio. Emmanuel.
Yeah. Murkomen, you lived here for a while.
Yes.
You know how it happens in terms of recruitment. I think the problem in Kenya, bado tuko na colonial mentality.
Yes.
Yeah, the police wanakuja wanachukuliwa alafu wanapelekwa to certain areas. What about recruitment inafanywa alafu watu wanakuwa chosen and then they are sent back to their home counties?
Correct.
I mean, kuna wale watachukuliwa kwenda record squad and everything else. So that Marakwet police officers are sent back home for court, wanatumwa huko na nini. Because I think if that happens, so watu wanachunga watu area nyumbani, I think that will help.
By the way, Emmanuel,
needs to happen.
Thank you, Emmanuel, for that. People don't even appreciate that in that country, in the US, people elected the police chiefs. They are local. They are local people. They vote.
Judges.
Even judges, they vote for them. So they are vetted directly by the people. And and when we always make the case for these police reservists, the argument has always been, we must nationalize the police. People must serve elsewhere. It can be used, misused. No.
I agree with you.
An example of the same is to make sure that we have police reservists that are operating from the local level, accountable to known police stations. That's where they get the bullets for work. They get their guns from government. That's where they serve it. When they change their guns from one reservist to another, they go to the police station and change. They are remunerated by the locals through county government, for example. They can put some resources to it. Eventually, even in other parts of this world, by the way, business people supplement security by supporting police stations. They build police stations. They give social.
It happens here too.
Correct. So that without saying,
even intelligence. When we talk about like somewhere like the Somalis and everything else.
Correct.
Watu vijana wanakuja kuwa hired, alafu wakuja back. That's how you can be able to gain intelligence kama mambo ya Al-Shabaab and everything else.
Correct. So this attitude against the local police reservists should be dealt with. Thank you.
All right. Asante sana, Emmanuel.
Thank you
for joining us this morning. All right. Ojuang, very quickly, your recap on the ELGEYO MARAKWET issues. Tufunge alafu tuelekee our last part of the discussion.
Very quickly. One, security must be seen as a right, because it is a right.
Yes.
And it's not a privilege, it's a right.
Yes. Okay.
And the police and the state should approach security as a human right issue. And number two, and that's why the police reform, calling them utumishi, kwa wote and whatever, they really need to know that. But number two, the injustice being done to West Pokot is this. Now investors don't want to go there. Now you have portrayed them as people who are
West Pokot or Kerio Valley?
Kerio Valley and the region. There are people who are waiting to kill each other.
Yes.
And that has made somebody can simply say, oh, I'm sorry, or I can donate my 100 shilling to the victims, but not I can build a factory there.
Correct.
I can build this there. Because they have been portrayed as, primitive, they cannot work, and there is so much insecurity. And with that, what you have denied them is development, right to development like anybody else. Finally, I want to put that with a parallel to Africa. You see, when we are portrayed as Africa as disease-ridden, always fighting, poor, we don't attract investors. We attract donors.
Correct.
With HIV fund, with Corona kits, to fight FGM,
feed the children.
Yes. But India attracts donors. They go, they industrialize the place. People
attract
get
investors.
jobs. Investors. People get jobs, and it is jobs that bring income that changes our livelihood. So the image of a place as bad and security ridden and people are primitive, the injustice is much bigger. Finally, when you look at how Kenya is projected and how Kenya is showing itself, you'll realize that in that region, just because somebody has not gone to school, don't tell me that that person cannot reason. I have taught in the US, I've taught in Kenya, and most of the dumb people are in the name of professors. Some of the education and miseducation we have that cannot make us innovate, that can make us feel better than people because they can't read. The character that Mheshimiwa was giving of Natembea, that is miseducation. Because education should be able to help you relate, sit and understand this person, but that education that you start from clearing your throat that because you cannot speak in English, you don't know anything. So formal education is not the measure of intelligence. And therefore saying, the connection between people going to school and whatever could be there, but it is not guaranteed. These people should be approached as people who have a solution. What they say matters. What they know matters. And they have human dignity. And they have lived there for so long. But when you approach them that, because I have masters in conflict resolution from USIU, therefore sit and listen, then you are missing to innovate. And what you are doing is simply the education that colonized them. Finally, look at the Kenya development. It's along the railway lines. Okay? So 1904, the Kenya-Uganda Railway. Most of these towns you see developed as a result of railway. It is unfortunate that there was no railway passing there. And therefore you can see it is historical. And that's why I was telling Mheshimiwa, the history should inform us, and it starts deep.
Had the railway passed there, we would not be having the problems we have.
Maybe the SGR should have passed to Uganda.
We could have been having the ancestor carry stuff from Zungu.
Correct.
Because most of these so-called famous people, ancestors, they were boys from Zungu, they were whatever, now they can speak a little English, they are civilized because they were potters from Zungu.
Finally, I know you need to go because you're going down to mambo ya juu ya magari. Mnafanya nini juu ya magari badala ya kufanya kazi ofisini?
I think it was unfortunate to come from the president because in 2013 to 2017 the president and the deputy operated the same, exactly the same way. Going for public places, going for public meetings, engaging the public, and all that. But after 2017, because the president seems now, with the benefit of hindsight, to have developed a different attitude and an intention to get a different candidate than the DP, now being on top of a vehicle became, for him, engaging the public became a negative thing. But it's also not factual. It's not factual because the president, I have seen enough pictures of President Uhuru Kenyatta on top of vehicles, selling BBI from all over the country. Unless he's telling me BBI is development, and I saw the deputy president on top of vehicle in most places selling bottom-up economics and selling the issue of unity of the country, and I have not seen. It could be a difference in ideology or what they were selling, but I've not seen what amounts development what differently if the president stands on top of a vehicle, and what amounts development differently when the deputy president stands there. So I don't know. I don't know why the president felt that is an answer in any case to say that people are working in the office. All those people working in the office are working for us, and we are the ones who put them there. We are the ones who form the government. Him and his deputy form the government, employed people. They are in the office, and both of them have been coordinating those people when it was possible, and also where it was not possible. The deputy president has been everywhere he has gone. He has been checking on government projects, whether it's the roads, the water, the electricity, and all that. And the president himself endorsed it. I found it paradoxical yesterday. The president, when he was with the DP, I think it was Embakasi, announced that I have freed the deputy president to tangatanga. Wakati kijana, in fact, he called him kijana that day. Wakati kijana kuja kutangatanga huko, nimemwambia angalie the project. So I don't know why he forgot so quickly that. That time, but the deputy president took it positively because there's work to be done. And lastly, when the president issued Executive Order number 1 of 2019, stripping of coordination responsibilities from the deputy president, what remained of the deputy president is to do the work that was there, which is to engage now the public, oversight what's happening, call out public officers who are not doing their job, call out contractors who are not doing their job, and as a result of that, those who are in the offices, try do their best to make sure that things are put together. President Uhuru Kenyatta is not a mechanic, he's not an engineer, he's not a road contractor, he's not a nurse, he's not a medical officer, he's not a water engineer, he's not a dam contractor, he's not, but all these things are happening across the country because there is a government, there is a public service that is running. Our responsibility, and we've done our part, is to do the budget in parliament, take the money to where it's supposed to do the work. It's the responsibility of the president himself, being the head of state, to ensure that those who work directly as cabinet secretaries, PSs, and all those do their job, and it's up to him now to provide that supervision. He knows very well that there is nothing the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya can do without being delegated by the president. And the same, there is nothing Vice President Kibaki did to Moi without being delegated by Moi. And even when people used to say Kibaki has done nothing, it was to the extent that Moi allowed him to do it. But now we are having a great opportunity in this year, in August, to elect now the deputy president based on his own now track record to come with his new policy, away from what they did with President Uhuru Kenyatta, and learning from the lessons of the things they do to be able to take our country forward. I would advise personally President Uhuru Kenyatta to first of all relax. He looks very angry. He looks. He should take these things. He should cool down. He should cool down. He's not a candidate, but he's being too anxious more than his project. The anxiety that the president showed yesterday was extremely unfortunate, and I know why. Because the numbers are not working towards his direction, and his anger, the anger of the president yesterday, was actually emanating from Musalia Mudavadi and Wetangula joining the deputy president, because those people are leaving after 4 years of being taken round and round by the president, and also they have a lot of information. A lot of information about what the president was planning against the deputy. What was planning against the deputy president. So that's where the frustration has gone to the heart of the president, because it now emerges to us. We know a lot of things that the president was trying to do, and lying to this person, lying to the other one, telling them you will be the candidate, telling this other one to be a candidate, and in all his meetings talking about his deputy, backfighting his deputy, saying how I want to deny him work so that he doesn't look good to the public and so on. The public have been able to see it, and if it was Raila Odinga or another person, this country would have exploded. But the deputy president handled his humiliation with a lot of grace, knowing that there was public responsibility on his part, not to create friction in the nation, and knowing that in the fullness of time, he would have to go back to the public. The last thing I'd like to say is that President Uhuru Kenyatta has a right if he so wishes to go and campaign for Raila Odinga. But he cannot erase history. He can't erase the fact that it's only William Ruto who has voted for him 4 times. It's William Ruto who has stood by him when he was in the rock bottom. I believe that when the people of Kenya go to the ballot, between what the president told them between 2013 and 2017 and post 2017, when he knew that he doesn't need a deputy president again for running for office, people will go more for what he told them before that, because it will be believed that he was saying that knowing that he was facing elections. What he's doing at the moment, the president is engaging in political deceit, which is not good for the unity of the country. If he supported Raila Odinga in a subtle manner, I probably think that he would increase the gains towards Raila Odinga. But the manner in which he's doing it, he thinks he's annoying the DP. He's not annoying the DP alone. He is also insulting Kalonzo. He is insulting Mudavadi. He's insulting Wetangula. So he thinks by doing this robust and forceful pushing of his project, the only supporters is exciting is for Raila Odinga. The support base for Raila Odinga are shrunk. Yeah, that even if Uhuru Kenyatta delivered to him 3 million votes, it is not going to rescue his vote. Yeah, so my honest advice is that the president should just chill, relax, breathe in, breathe out, prepare for his retirement. He will not be president again. So he should not waste a lot of energy trying to make the deputy president not be president. Because what the president is doing is not to campaign for Raila to be president. No, he's working so hard to decampaign the deputy president. And everything he has told all these people, Musalia, Wetangula, all this team, Gideon Moy, all those people, always keeps telling them, this man will defeat you. This man will win. You know he is ahead. So his problem is not that he has a candidate that he wants to present that is a good candidate for the country. No. No. Even his anger yesterday was not towards assisting Raila be president. No. His anger is anybody else but Ruto. If tomorrow he wakes up and Ojwang is a more viable candidate than Raila Odinga, he can easily run there. That kind of attitude is not even good for his own health. Yeah, it's not good for his own, because there's a fact that will happen in August. The president of Kenya will either be Raila Odinga or William Ruto. Unless something else intervenes in between now and August. But the indicators show that the main protagonists and the front runners are two. And President Uhuru Kenyatta should go home knowing he will never be president again. And he can never predict what Raila's presidency will be. He cannot even tell whether he will be the first casualty of that presidency, because he has established through his own politics that dignity and your word means nothing, that keeping promises means nothing. And so him running, thinking that I've supported Raila because I am trying to fight Ruto, could even actually he's jumping from the frying pan to the fire. And I'm not a prophet, but I can tell you, Gerald, because those of us who are now in politics are very relaxed. We know for sure that this country will be governed by the person God allows and the people of Kenya decide. And at the moment, William Ruto is ahead. But pending anything and Raila becomes president, we'll still be in this town. Life continues. And life continues, and the country must move forward. But this attitude that the president is doing a life and death kind of politics, like, it's either Raila or I will not hand over power. Now, look, for a long time, we excused the president for the last 3 years. That Atuoli and Murade were saying their own things. It's now clear from his utterances and anger that the president has been wanting to extend his reign. Atuoli spoke for him yesterday, and the president was clubbing when Atuoli was saying the president is too young to retire. We just need a president who wins 2022 this year, August, and we change the constitution so the president can get a prime minister position. That's what he was trying to say. Does he think that Raila is a stupid person? I think sometimes these people are underrated. I have worked with Raila Odinga. He's not that dumb. Yeah, but of course he will say, we will do it. We'll do it. Like Uhuru did it anyway by pretending. Yangu kumi, yake kumi. So if he thinks that that kind of direction is going to protect him. Nothing. The only protector of Uhuru Kenyatta is the Constitution. If Uhuru Kenyatta wants to be safe in his retirement, let him obey and respect the Constitution. And I expect that the president who is going to come will also respect the Constitution. But this idea of trying to manipulate the Constitution will backfire more to him than any other person. Will backfire. Go to Botswana, go to countries like even Russia itself. If you read the history of Russia, if you go to countries like Angola, all these projects that you try to install, when it is done and it's finished, you become a victim. The first victim is destroy the kingmaker, which Uhuru has been trying to do to destroy his own kingmaker, William Ruto. If he's thinking that he's going to be the kingmaker for Raila Odinga so that he lives a good life after elections, I'm sorry to tell him that he should again go back to history and read what happens to such people. The last thing I like to say is that it is increasingly becoming, the president is increasingly becoming a polarizer in the country. He is actually, Raila and Ruto are running more cleaner campaign than the poison chalice that is brought by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Okay. President Kenyatta is increasingly becoming an irritant in a democratic system. He's the guy that the candidates are selling their issues, and then suddenly he comes in there and says, I wanted my running mate to Raila Odinga. Okay, but so Raila is thinking, I've jumped out of all my other competitors. Okay, anyways, okay, I will take it. Bring your running mate if you want to do that. The president is retiring, but he wants to be the chairman of Jubilee Party, the party leader. Can you imagine the president of the dignity of the office of the president of the Republic of Kenya retiring from the presidency, the highest office you can ever hold, then plump it down, go to become become a party leader of Jubilee, where now you will be the one saying tupatie huyu certificate, usipatie huyu, the nominations hapa iko aje. He's calling about ballot boxes. Presidents like Obama established things like presidential library, programs for mentorship globally, push for causes in the world. This man is still thinking about who becomes the MP of Echaweri, who will become the MP of Buri somewhere in Meru, who becomes, and it's even worse that he wants to reduce himself to an ethnic chieftain. I mean, honestly, this is indignifying the office of the president. And who will tell President Uhuru Kenyatta? Because all the people, all of us who used to tell him the truth, have been banished. We have been chased away. And now his chief advisor is Atwoli. And Atwoli is busy there, speaking in the presence of the President of the Republic of Kenya, launching an health program. But Atwoli was making fun about mental health and suicides in the Republic. A very serious issue. We just passed a law in Senate about mental health. And we know that mental health is a big problem. But the president is clapping and cheering when his political advisor, Francis Atwoli, is making fun of mental health. That was the lowest. It's just second to how the president was laughing in Bomas, laughing himself silly. So if we care about the dignity of the office of the president, the stature of the office of the president, we must all of us tell President Uhuru Kenyatta, you've done your bit. You didn't do it alone. We did with you. Don't pretend. Don't now try to pretend that you did it. You're not a road contractor. You're not even the one who chaired the committee that dealt with annuity program for roads all over the country. It was the deputy president who chaired it in his office. There are pictures and there are records. Those are the people who helped you. These are all electricity programs. All these things that we put in place. The only things that have failed is Pick 4 agenda because it was engulfed by it was overtaken. Let me put this one by BBI. And the program that has failed on top of CAS is BBI because that was the whole thing that all these 4 years has all been about. So I want to tell President Uhuru Kenyatta, if he thinks that the success of Jubilee is his alone, then he's lying to himself. He takes greater credit because he was a captain of the ship. But the work that was done, the people, the men and women that did the programs that we sold to the people of Kenya and worked and prepared that program. He didn't do it. He wasn't the one who put together the manifesto. I mean, honestly, those of us who sat there to work on Jubilee Manifesto know what we did. So everybody will take a certain piece of credit of what we did in Jubilee. He will take a greater credit because history will remember that it is his administration as it goes on. William Ruto will come and take his credit when time comes as a government, but he can't miss his part of history as part of the contributors of the success of Jubilee. And where there is failure, we can explain what caused those failures within the Jubilee administration. And where we've gone wrong, we to correct it, you know. But I see a president who is, I don't know what happened to President Uhuru Kenyatta. He's become personally insecure, so that he's always looking here and he feels like he's not president enough, or he's being not being praised enough. He should relax. We will praise him. Kibaki is being praised today. His time will come, we will praise him. But that praise, even in Kibaki's administration, there are people who contributed to that success, and we cannot run away from that fact. I wish I had time to discuss this with you, Gerald. I need to be in thought in the next 2 hours, and it's a pleasure to have come to this show. Really maybe another time we'll come back to discuss this issue of succession, because Uhuru's succession is turning out to become a threat to future of our democracy. The issues, the people who are in the know, who can really engage on what's happening, is that the president would like a puppet president. Yeah, not a free president like himself. He would like another one who is a puppet, where he has his own party. He is the party leader. He's the one who can. He will negotiate that I want the chair of finance in the committee in Bunge. Then he will be the one dictating the finance budget of the person who succeeded him, who may want to correct certain things that he did wrong. Yes. Even in US. Despite the fact that one president can succeed another one in the same political party, people give way. You know, they give way. They say, "Okay, great. You are in the same. We are in the same political party." You don't see Obama now going back to Biden and say, "You are my vice president." Now, we need to do nataka nipatie appointments mbili tatu. You know, that's what Uhuru is doing. Ati nitajinegotiatia a few positions here and there. Why? Finish that stage
and go.
Even pastors in church, when bishop, like my friend Bishop Oginde, he has finished. He hands over to Bishop Callisto, my other friend, for CITAM. I'm using them for example because they are people who mentored me through my university days. They know once Bishop Oginde has finished, he exits the stage and allows Callisto to run the show here, to do what he wants to do with the church. And it's a Christian organization, but he becomes part of the congregation, and let the congregation give him another assignment that as a bishop emeritus, we want you to do for us this one. But for him to come and interfere with the preaching program, the transfer of pastors, that is exactly what the president said. Worship, that so and so should worship leader and all that. I think that's a small example I'm using. But in a country, when you exit a stage, be proud to say, I have done what I've done. But I believe that the wisdom I had was not enough. Let the new guy come in and start, even if it means recorrect the things I've done. But you cannot dictate literally say, I want to put someone there who will protect what I have put there. What is that you've hidden there? Is there some money you have? Is there business you have there? Is it that you have converted the state to be your personal enterprise and therefore you don't want to lose the tenders and all that? But a president like Kibaki left and said, I was there, by the way, when he left from State House. I was there the day we were bidding him farewell. He had no big deal. He entered the car like there was no. It was evening. It was 7 p.m. by the way. He entered the car and just left like nothing. And left. Left. Even if he made a request to the president, say, please help so and so, because he was working for me. Now that I'm no longer president, niandikie kasi huyu na huyu, because now these are people who worked for me. That is it. You never saw Kibaki saying, I want my program, my project. If Kibaki had insisted, we would not have done some of the things we did, because some of them he did, some we did it opposite what he did, and assisted the country to move forward. The next president of the Republic of Kenya must have a free hand
to do
what is good for country today, based on the public participation. I'm glad that the president recognizes that his deputy knows the country well. He has been on top of vehicles enough. He has gone to every part of the nation. That is the kind of president we want, who will understand the problems of common mwananchi, who will not be told where is Elwak, where is Isabania, where is Migori, where is Isiaya, and all that. Somebody who has a greater feel of the country.
Juang, ask something.
One sentence.
Just allow Juang a sentence.
Release me so that
We'll actually finish.
I think President is trying to provoke the deputy president to leave the message. Because what I saw was fear, literally, so that he makes it about him and not the candidate. And so it is a way that, because deputy president have been very good and successful in communicating bottom up. But you know now, if you start talking about him, it's a distraction. But I also think there's nothing wrong with what they call management by walking. Management by walking means you don't just sit in the office. You see, was this road built? Especially in this age where we now work from home. I felt offended because with this COVID, we actually don't go to offices. Even Senate, I see
on top of
working
bed
from home. So it might not be on top of the car, but surely it's not in an office. And that is the new model.
All right. Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa, for coming in. I wish you all the very best. Tell us what the people of ELGEYO, Marakwet say, and the people of Kerio Valley. It's been a pleasure having you. And all the best. Safiri salama. It's been a good discussion.
Really.
And the thing is, some of the things that I think we need to give a mind on as well, the new rules on elections, that MPs must have degrees. Do you think this is going to fly? MPs having degrees as a requirement for clearance?
No, I don't see it flying, and I don't like it. Because, you see, it's the colonial mindset that made access to opportunity a condition in education. So you go to school, not to help your people, but so that you can do this and this and this. We know that even people who have the formal education, like the US, know that it is not a requirement. And it should be a requirement. If I stood for a position and I'm standing or I'm running against a class 2 leaver, they should be the one complaining.
Not you.
Because I have the advantage. I should be telling people, I will mesmerize you with this knowledge. I will use my English better. So who should be the complainer? Now it will be quite irony. When I'm running from a class 2, I'm saying, Toa Uyu. You know, it's like those games which you used to play as kids. You say, I will not enter the field until you remove that guy. That guy atadivuja. People have a right to vote for whoever they want. Of course, if we have restriction or we are restricting the right of people to run, it must be reasonable. Has statistics shown, and this is a question I'm asking any Kenyan, has statistics shown that those who are learned have governed better than those who are not learned? I think that is where, and I think it's not true. They have maybe articulated their things better, and you know,
but they have not governed. They have done better, Pierre.
Right, the miseducation of Negroes. We are actually, with more education, we are miseducated because we have turned education to better English. So whoever speaks English is smarter. Whoever speak better English is even smarter. English is just communicate. It's a language.
It's like
it's just like any other language.
Fluent Luo.
Right. So a white person cannot speak Luo. So is he dumb?
No.
So why should I be dumb? Because I cannot speak English. Yes, people need to communicate. But at the end of the day, Chinese don't feel embarrassed that he can't speak English. That this will be embarrassing. Can you imagine if a visitor come, what English will he speak? I mean, are we hiring a DJ or an entertainer or a jester, or we have a leader where what happens when President Uhuru goes to a francophone country? There's an interpreter in between. I would rather a situation where we have somebody interpreting as our president speak in Swahili and say this is our language here. And you know all these people who swallow their mouth and kill themselves that they can speak English. The day you go to an English speaker and you open your mouth, the first question is, are you from Nigeria? Oh my goodness. Is that, I know that language sounds like English, but
it's
what
not
language is it? Again? So you get to realize that education, formal education is important. But it is not the only way knowledge is acquired. That is number one. There is informal education. If I can give you, if I had time, look at what Professor Ayayo has done on a Luo education. And the Luo education philosophy. This CBC is what we had already, not 844. We say in the Luo, Dani ponyo nyakati, somebody will learn until they die. We had in our apprenticeship where you follow somebody and you learn from them. Every evening, young people go and sit in the Simba and they learn the language and the history of our people. What is different? So that you know London Bridge is burning and you can sing it, but you don't know where Migori is, yet you are from Migori because you were born in Kisumu. So let us have understand what matters is that somebody is able to understand the issue. Let the voters sort that out. If you want a graduate, vote for the graduate. If you want,
because they're all there anyway.
They're there. It's a marketplace.
And you talked about the marketplace.
It's a marketplace of idea. And as I said, if you remove, if you tell foolish people don't go to the market, then who do you think will buy the rotten bananas?
And they're all equal.
It is important that somebody,
all bananas are equal.
Right. It's important that somebody bring home rotten bananas so that that economy proceeds.
All bananas are equal. It's been a pleasure having you.
No banana should be left behind.
No banana. We are leaving no banana behind. Leaving no banana behind. All bananas are equal, and all buyers and sellers are equal in the market. So let everybody bring in. Let's have every other person on this platform, the platform of politics and leadership, offering themselves. For the longest time, man, we've run this country without all these shenanigans of who has what, was a doctorate, was this and that. Anyway, it has been the state of the nation.
It's been real.
It's been real, man. It's been real, my guy.
True that.
It's been
True that.
Take care and see you tomorrow on Siasa Wednesday. This is a tackle and it ends now. Bye-bye and take care.